And we're back, and just like that, Cartel and Mockit just they don't want to wait,
Yeah,
Harry. They're going
they
straight.
got me. Honestly, you should hear some of the words that Spilly is saying right now. I've never heard such profanity in my life. And that's the beauty of live production for you. But yeah, Cartel versus Mockit. No messing around. I don't know whether or not this is Cartel just saying, you know what, we don't need to wait for a stream, or if they just want to sweep Mockit aside and collect their paycheck as soon as possible. But yeah, bit of a different look Mockit roster than you are probably used to. We didn't get to broadcast the Pro Series Cup last week, but they have swapped out Precisionite, and Warlord stepped in for the second time on this Mockit roster. So, well, in the time of me starting and finishing my first point, it's been 30 seconds and the first flag's in for Cartel. So, I don't really think it matters what Mockit roster turns up here, Richie. I think Cartel just want their money.
Yeah, it's the inaugural Cartel Cup, of course, and they're starting off this with a bang. Just do we even need the commentator at some point? You just go, right, we'll take a break, let's go get some food, and by the time we're all finished, we'll be in the finals. But at the moment, SLG and Co, they're one flag to the good, and it looks as though it's business as usual for Cartel. They're on an absolute tear.
It did make me laugh when I heard people regarding this Cartel roster in their early iterations as the EU Splice, but I really see what people mean now. Like, we're here at the season finals, and their way of playing is so different to every team that we see play, and the only team you can really compare them to is the old Splice roster. They used to not even scrim fours, they would just play twos all the time. And well, Batchford here is just being caught out in the open, no real chance of getting anything done there. Looney here top middle is well, Squashy P2 as well, just almost chasing shadows at times because of this Cartel roster. You know, just how quickly they move and how decisive they are with their movements as well. Seeker gets taken down. Chance for a double here for Squashy as well. Would be a great one to get. He thinks he gets the kill. Reloads prematurely. And, well, SLG might have just sponged the headshot there. I know there's a few of those bullets that go astray. I've been the victim of many, but most of the time it's because I can't aim, Richie. So, probably better to make sure you get the kill first there next time, Squashy Josh.
Yeah, I'd like to send out my commiserations to Squashy Josh. Just let him know premature reloading affects 1 in 4 men as well. So not to worry, it happens to me quite often as well. But I am assured it's the weapon's fault and not actually me. But as we jump on board now with Legend instead, Camouflage about to get scooped into his chest. Can he say alive? Just look at this, sprinting around the map. Most players stop P1 to try to get their shields back. He's not, he's out of here, he's running away with the Camouflage. But this time, Looney does get the kill. And are they showing a little to no respect to this Mockit roster at the moment?
Well, no, I think if you're a Legend there, that's the only way you have a chance of surviving. Batchford here doing a really good job. Legend the last alive, needs to make sure he gets this kill. And well, if Legend's allowed to go basement and get some shots on the flag, that might make the flag run a little bit more difficult. And well, the way that Cartel aren't very quick at overextending here, this should be a flag capture and an equalizing one at that from Mockit. And a lot of it is thanks to Batchford's work here in the base. Really good job by Mockit. And we're speaking about Cartel so much, we've forgotten there's a second team in this series here in this semi-finals, of course. Yet to win a Pro Series Cup are Mockit. They would love to right that wrong here, but first they have to get past this Cartel team, which has been absolutely dominant throughout the entire Pro Series play.
I have poked fun at Batchford in the past in his chat and the last community play day in which I said, Batch, can you just take a game off Cartel? And he didn't find it as funny as everybody else in the chat. And maybe this is his time to take this map. They've equalised now and they're starting to get a foothold in the game. After that early start, that great start from Cartel, they're now straight back in the game and now applying pressure of their own.
Yeah, both teams playing really patient on this flag. That's the focal point on the map right now. Every player is playing towards this objective at the bottom of the middle of the map. The kills go to Mockit, the touch goes to Batchford. Really huge plays, and the only player right now that can do anything is Shady. He's going to be met with some resistance. That will be the second flag capture, actually, by Mockit. Really well played. Cartel, if I was them, I probably would have pushed the pace on that flag a little bit more. Mockit were the ones that didn't have to, just push the pressure on the flag, as weird as it sounds, because they knew Cartel were just going to try and bait that flag. They got the first 2 kills in the team fight, banked on them going for the return, and instead it is Mockit one flag capture away from taking game 1.
That man Batchford was on a killing spree, but it now has just been ended by that man Legend, and he also gets taken down by Squashy in turn. This is a great performance now out of Mockit, who have answered back after that early wobble, it has to be said, and that early pressure from Cartel, and now playing a game of their own as well. Camouflage not to be up for another little while, so you don't have to worry about that. So now it's all about just holding this position and maybe putting down some more damage on the map and being able to pull a flag, as now Looney enters into the base. Camouflage now in his chest, so I have to correct myself, not to worry about it, they actually have it, so there will be no worries. He's going to try and get at this sneaky recover against Shady. Can he do it? Gets the kill. Has another player to contend with as well. Can he take him down as well? Looney just gets taken out a little bit. All he needed was a little bit more room to room there, a little bit more room to wiggle.
I think he's done enough here, Richie. There is certainly a flag, well, standoff on the go. There was just an attempt at an extension of the play by Squashy, but Looney loving those plays with Camouflage. If I was him, I maybe would have tried to stop the flag a little bit further away from the enemy team base. Instead, he was just waiting for him to get close, and well, that allowed the play from Legend to take him down. But yeah, really nice patience. But fortunately, it's Cartel, as they always do, putting the pressure and pulling the flag here early on. It's well, Seeker across the map's not even being touched on this flag capture, and well, that'll be Cartel taking game number 1.
And just as quick as that, the flag got pulled out, ran out the front base, and it looked as though Mockit were actually going into their base from the car side. Had no idea the flag had already been pushed out through the window. The quickest route, of course, but it's high risk, high reward. But unfortunately, the Mockit guys, they gambled on them going towards P-Attic and P-side, and just didn't have the time or the resources to put any shots down on that guy. So that is game, set, match into game 3. We will now go off the players of the ring. Let's look at the stats, Harry.
Yeah, 17 kills, 10 deaths from Legend. They're not messing around in this series, Richie. They want to get this one over, as Ron said. Legend and the boys want to get paid. They want that money in their account as soon as possible. Yeah, +7 from Legend. Really nice damage as well. We didn't really get to see too much of his point of view, but from Shady, very, very nice indeed. Warlord, bit of a rough game from him. I mean, double negative. It's not what you want to see. 2 deaths for every kill that he got on the map. Hopefully he can turn it around here on Rig. Coming back to the comment Cartel wanting to get paid, there's been a lot of talk around the Twitter sphere where some players are questioning the pro status, so to speak, of Cartel, and my take on it was this: if you're not getting paid right now, you don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who's pro, who's semi-pro, who's amateur, who's semi-amateur. Like, none of that matters. All that matters right now are the players that are getting paid. And Cartel are probably the only team in Europe consistently that are getting paid, aside from maybe Notorious and this team that they're playing right now. So it's all just semantics at the end of the day. And Cartel, they want one thing. They want championships. And, well, the other thing I suppose they want is the money in their bank account.
Well, you've heard it here first. Wonderboy has put to bed that argument. Cartel are most certainly pro players. That's what I'm hearing, and I'm well and truly on that same ship. I agree with that as well. And something we have to talk about as well, with the Precision Knight for Warlord swap, have this Mockit roster just cut off their nose to spite their face here. They've dropped a key and pivotal member of their team and picked up Warlord, of course, who is no stranger to getting there, and he's been there and done that. But of course, Precision Knight, one of the young guns. Have they made the right decision here?
Well, I'm not sure if we will ever know if they've made the right decision. Obviously, they became a different beast with Precision Knight. There was, internal problems on that team, whether or not, I don't think we'll ever know the full story of exactly what happened. Only the players involved will. But, I mean, it could be a case of pride coming into play. Some players can be too proud, and if it's me, I maybe try and work to resolve it, because that roster was so good. And for me, too good to throw away. But again, we don't know the ins and outs of the situation. We don't know how far back this goes, and we don't know the mentality and the personalities of the players involved. So if it's me, again, I try and work towards maybe getting a resolution. But as we're speaking, a lead change, 15-14 to Mockit. Looney doing a great job here, staying alive. And if I'm him, I'll try and eradicate Legend from that area as soon as possible, because Camouflage coming up soon. The 2 key areas for that, of course, White Corner and E2, which is why we see so many fights happen around those areas. Easy escape routes once you do pick up the Camouflage. Batchford's able to burn it, but, well, Shady puts bullets in his face, and no Camouflage in play for another 2 minutes now, Richie.
Shady just had that scatter shot. It appeared as though he was baiting the camouflage, just wanted any member of the enemy team to push it, and that was Batchford on this occasion, and he met an untimely end from the hands of Shady's scatter shot. Of course, I think maybe Shady wanted to get that kill and scoop up the camouflage for himself, but timing allowed Batchford to get the burn, so fortunate enough for them as they're now fighting backs to the walls, 21-19, and it's almost honours even at the moment. Another sniper rifle to be up very, very shortly, and this action to and fro at the moment. Legend gets taken down by Looney with the help of Warlord as well, and Warlord decides to play his life. He's getting chased by a member of Cartel as well, who opts to back down, gets a back whack onto him, and this is much better from Warlord as he now just gets taken down by Sika.
Yeah, nice double there from Batchford as well to clean up Warlord's dirty work, and the sniper has been, well, taken and scooped up by Legend. And, well, he's just hit a no-scope onto Squashy, so I think it's fair to say we need to hop over to Legend's point of view as soon as possible, because here, this is the route back into the game here for Cartel. I mean, what am I even saying? They have the lead, but this is the way that you put the game out of the reach of Mockit. You now have them trapped on spawn. Legend here is just pushing a little bit too early towards Carbine and trying to influence some of those nest spawns, perhaps, as you can see. Batchford is down there and he's wisely staying at home. You don't want to peek too early here. If you know Legend has the camouflage and influences spawns in the ways that he does. Stu is next on the radar. He actually stays alive, Nest 1. Finally cleaned up. But throughout that entire passage of play, while Legend was influencing and manipulating those spawns, it's a 5-point lead with new camouflage coming up, with SLG on white corner in prime position with great real estate to grab that power up. I mean, just moments ago, Richie, it was tied up, and suddenly Mockit have completely fallen off the face of the planet, and, well, it looks like it's going to be a camo for Cartel, and should be a fairly safe and comfortable one here as well.
So easy as you can get it, it can be that easily taken away, and 4 kills now in favour of Cartel. And if you're thinking to yourself, we only got to see 2 bullets of that sniper rifle, well, I'll tell you who to blame. That was Spilly, right? Spilly was not on board of Legend. He missed all those shots. So if we're going to point fingers at, and Spilly's saying sorry, I'm not sure it's good enough. Okay, I'm not sure it's good enough.
You can make up for it, Spilly, if you want to hop over to Shady. He's got camo right now. I know. We can just, give him a little bit of breathing room. It's not exactly the closest game in the world, but Mockit, they need to take down this man with camouflage if they want to have any hope of coming back into this match now.
Some people might say there's Bob Hope and there's no hope, and Bob Hope, of course, isn't no longer on planet Earth, so there's only no hope left for this roster of Mockit doing the best. They're just turtled up now, and it looks as though it's all pedal to the metal as Shady and co just round out the rest of this game. Only 4 kills to go, and unfortunately for Mockit, of course, they've no stake to enter to contend with, but it's 47-33. It's only a matter of time now, and we will be now heading over to strongholds on Empire.
What am I watching, Richard?
I was just madness.
I wasn't listening to what you were saying. I was just watching Shady run around the map like it was his own little gym on the treadmill. No wonder this score is getting so out of hand when you have Shady just being able to do whatever he wants. And that's one of the reasons they are known as the EU Splice. We didn't get to see too much of Seeker's point of view again, but 19-8, a plus 11 from the man we seldom talk about here on this Cartel roster that rounds out the team. 2.4 thousand damage from him as well to supplement that. You can't let Shady run around the map like that. You just can't. I don't know what the counter is. Don't ask me because I have no idea. But when Shady just starts playing it like he's Shyway in a custom game by himself for 2 hours, you can't allow him to do that, because that's when the game gets out of hand. When he feels no pressure and he feels like he can run around and make plays for the rest of his teams to capitalize on, that's not going to spell victory for you. That's going to be you losing by a big old margin. And we haven't seen any team so far, Richie, that's been able to stop him from doing that.
No, nobody seems to be able to handle the smoke at the moment. And game 2, it was another game to forget for Warlord as he went double negative again, this time going 7-4. It's just not good enough if you're going to play against this Cartel roster. Of course, they put immense pressure on you, and it can very easily happen. You get a couple of bad spawn rotations, and all of a sudden the game gets away from you. But it's just not going to be good enough if you're going to try and topple this mammoth of a squad, and now we're on board with that man, of course, now taken down to no shields. Wisely decides he's going to get himself out of dodge and opt to stay alive, but Overshield now looks as though it's going to go into Legend's hands, who fives Warlord desperately trying to get away and play his life again, but now Overshield and Camouflage, importantly, are in the hands of Cartel.
Yeah, you feel for Warlord, don't you? Because it's such a difficult situation to come into. Yes, you used to play with this team. This used to be your boys, and you had obviously, some decent game time with them. But you're being called in short notice. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks you've had to play to get back on the same page. This roster has had lofty hopes and fully, want to try and capitalize on the fact that they have a chance of being a top 2 team in Europe. And for Warlord, I just don't think, and I never thought I would ever be saying this about Warlord, that he just doesn't have the game time recently to be able to keep up with the likes of Cartel and the likes of Notorious. So it will be forever a what if from European Halo as to what this series would be like, what the landscape in Europe would be like if Precisionite had stayed on Mockit. But either way, they've done well so far, Mockit, not succumbing to the triple cap. That's such an important piece of information to keep in consideration when we will no doubt see a triple cap at some point throughout the game. Whether it will be Batchford or whether or not it will be Cartel, who inevitably like trying to push the pace. There will be a momentary triple cap here for Mockit, but if I'm Warlord, I just don't push into blue here. I try and trap them and keep eyes on exactly the movements of the Cartel boys, and it looks like they're going to swing all the way around to red base, as you can see there through the player outlines.
Yeah, very important now if you're Mockit just to hold what you have. Don't get a little bit too greedy. Don't allow Cartel to get around you and get your bases. They need to try and hold this pit as Looney falls the worst possible time imaginable, as Warlord now gets a trade. Batchford helps out as well, gets a kill on the Shady. Now you can see Warlord desperately trying to stay alive. He now regains his shields. Can he get himself involved again? Unfortunately, no. They've already lost the pit, and Cartel
controller broken here. Stu, you good?
Hello, Stu.
I think he needs a Cartel controller or whatever they're called. I know he's left the game, so I think we need to play on from this situation. It's unfortunate for Mockit, but I mean, I believe the rulebook states that if it's a lag out after the first X minutes of the game, you have to play on. So maybe if you're Mockit here, you just play Slayer from now on. You don't try and go for those strongholds because you're already 2-0 down in the series. And you can see we've had another player leave. That's squashy that time around. So looking like a 3-0 in the series for Cartel. Obviously, it's an unfortunate situation. We've had a lag out and we have to play on. Those are the rules. But I mean, we kind of expected this as a formality anyway, didn't we, Richie? Not the lag out, but obviously the Cartel sweep in the semi-finals. Yeah,
we did feel as though this was going to be a 3-0, and we had our one eye on the finals already, as it has come to fruition. Mockit just didn't have enough, and what if they have decided to drop Warlord mid-series? They said, listen, we were actually pretty decent as a 3. We were able to take down Notorious 3v4, and that's Slayer regret. So actually, if you want to maybe pack your bags, we'll take care of business here right now.
Interesting, Richie. I actually have 3 missed calls and 2 voicemails from Batchford. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe you're right. They could have been trying to drop him mid-series, but it's unfortunately a very unceremonious way to bow out of the Halo 5 Pro Series for Mockit, and it does not do them justice whatsoever, because this is a team that was doing things on a regular basis more than once against Notorious that we never thought possible of these players, of Squashy, of Looney, of Batchford, and of course of Precisionite, who was once on this roster, taking down the types of players like Mo's, Snipe Drone, Kimbo, and Jimbo in tournament play numerous times was previously unheard of and unthought of. So it's such a shame to see them bow out this way. But online gaming is online gaming. Sometimes these things happen, and I don't think it would have affected the final score of the series too much. No disrespect to Mockit. Cartel are just a different beast.
Yeah, it's a bitter end for Mockit, but they've made it far enough. They've made it to top 4, and maybe they had their hopes of maybe going the distance like they did last season, but this time around they have fallen short and fallen by the wayside to a very, very impressive and formidable Cartel roster. And now the mantle falls onto Notorious. Can they be the one to finally topple this roster? And what an end to the year that would be if they could finally get one over on this roster, but they're just looking so good right now, Harry.
They are. I do wonder whether or not Notorious have what it takes to take down Cartel. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, because the only time I've seen them beat them in tournament play was when Legend wasn't playing. And even then it went to a game 5. So yeah, I do wonder whether or not Notorious whether it's a clash of play styles, whether or not, they just are inferior players, or if they are just an inferior team, or whether or not they just can't react to the way that Cartel play. There are just so many questions about this one game that we have in the finals. So yeah, it's a difficult one. Hearing in the back, there may be some replay action going on between Mockit and Cartel, but that's unconfirmed. So stay with us. But yeah, I just don't know that Notorious have the answer for Cartel. Absolutely no idea. Hopefully we get the resolution to that story today. This being the final Halo 5 Pro Series Cup, of course.
Yeah, and what a story that would be if we do, in fact, get that replay, if they can somehow miraculously come back into this game and make a series of it all of a sudden, we have a totally different story on our hands. But with the way it was going and how good this French roster are on Strongholds in particular, they're so good, especially on Eden and on Empire. They know exactly what needs to be done. They're constantly putting pressure on you. But it looks as though we may be getting a restart here, and if that's the case, it may be again just a matter of time before we actually make it to the final. So we're gonna
feel a bit bad now, don't I, for writing off Mockit before the series has even been resolved. And I feel especially bad because I said I don't think it would have made too much of a difference to the final series score. Watch them come back and reverse sweep now. It's going to happen. It's going to happen now that I've said that. Cheers. Cheers to that, boys.
Well, if we can have maybe a little look at the stats and see what way it was going. It was very much honours even. There wasn't too many discrepancies in the score in terms of slays across the board. Warlord only had the 1 kill and the 4 deaths, but of course he got DC'd pretty early on. But the score at that point was 60 odd. So it's still a mountain to climb for him, and see if he can climb his way back into this series and maybe regain a little bit of form. Like you said, it has a little break maybe hurt him in a way that he's been brought back into this somewhat like a fighter would be, Harry, where they have to come in and drop weight immediately and they find themselves out of sorts.
I don't want to say it's a poisoned chalice, because it's not really, is it? I mean, the opportunity to play on a team that is, within the top 4 of Europe is always going to be a situation that is going to appeal to a player like Warlord. But I think I think you're right. In the fighter analogy is probably the best analogy we have right now, because you are coming into a roster that is so highly touted, has so much promise around them, especially when it's a roster that you used to play on, and they seem to have evolved from the days when you used to be on the roster to then come back in and be expected to play at the same level. It's a tough ask. It really is. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, my Twitch. I got the little tweet. When someone notifies you in a chat, where someone says your name, like at Wonderboy. My Twitch chat makes a noise now. It does a little dink, and it was just going off like mad. And I just checked the chat. Apparently, you can type Wonderboy into the chat for a nameplate. So now for the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to hear dink. Dink, dink, dink. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks. I'm closing the chat right now. It's so loud. It is so loud.
Get all the Wonder Boys into the chat while you can, so you can just really bleed Harry's eardrums before he can recover.
What did you say? I can't
hear you.
I've never had better Twitch TV installed. How do I turn this off? Stop.
So we are getting unconfirmed reports that
this is right.
We will replaying this, and there's a conspiracy now in the works that this is all Caelan's doing, and he knew exactly what he was at.
Caelan, if you think I'm going to work for you ever again after this, you are sadly mistaken. Congratulations, you played yourself.
You are sadly correct.
You are. It's the only thing going on in European Halo right now.
So the score is going to be 31-16, I'm hearing. So maybe, Harry, there's enough room there that maybe Mockit can make a game of it.
Yeah, I think if you start off correctly, there's always a chance on Empire Strongholds. It's very difficult to do that against Cartel. Just hearing in our ears that Cartel need the sex number, 69.
Yeah, watch out for that number.
So
Lol,
watch
lol.
out for 69. When Cartel 69 in you, that's when you know it's over. We're
Well,
losing it. We're
one thing,
losing it, Caleb. You
we're-
did
we're-
this
the
with the
the
dinks in my
wheels,
ears.
the wheels have
Congratulations.
come off. We're talking about science and everything. What has happened to this reputable establishment? But now, what you don't want is a repeat of the start that happened last time, in which SLG and Co got camouflage and the overshield. So you need to see that turned around immediately. At least secure one of these power ups.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a great way to give you, obviously, an advantage against a team that has been outclassing you in every other area. So if you can take the power-ups away from them, as Looney's attempting to do here, Shady needs to start hitting some of these shots and shoots them in the cankle in the end. That's a great way to get back into the game. But unfortunately, we saw Looney go down. Legend off-screen has the overshield. 3 down for Mockit as well. It's business as usual here for Cartel.
Yep, so I might have thought had they secured the power up, it might somehow stop and quell the Cartel boys. Unfortunately, no, they're still the roster that they were before and still truly dominant, and they've already gotten themselves a double cap and looking to immediately put the pressure onto Mockit's base over here on the red side. And as they start to vacate and look towards Pit, SLG's right behind him. He's going to start putting some shots in from behind.
Tell you what, I love what a sportsman Shady is, using the BR just to make it a bit more of a level playing field. That's really nice. Such a nice guy. And well, that's the triple cap, Richie. How long did it take? Just about a minute into the game here for Cartel. And you run out of superlatives to describe this team, because not only do they get the first kill after the triple cap, they get the second kill, they get the third kill, all without reply from Mockit. And you can see Squashy Josh there just doesn't know what to do on the player outlines, because you can't just go straight for the stronghold when you're the last man alive. They get the first kill in the team fight again. They get the second team fight kill again. They get the third team fight kill again, all without reply. What do you do when you don't get kills against this team? And by the way, Looney and Squashy both do not have kills.
The game has started. That is something that Snipe Down has said, and it rings true here again as they get another. How are the control pads just down at this point, as they've already gotten 45 points and well and truly on their way?
If I'm Mummy Graham right now and I'm Warlord's mum, I pull the plug on the router again, because something's not going right here. Just give it another chance. This is dominance. They're approaching 69.
Yeah, we're well and truly heading towards 69, which is mostly a favourable number for most, but at this moment in time, it's not what you want if you're the Mockit roster. And if Mammy Warlord can maybe pull that cable out quick, because we're running out of time thick and fast here, as Overshield is going to go into the chest of SLG as well, and Batchford has finally got the kill on the Shady. I almost feel like celebrating that in itself, Wonderboy.
Well, it's crazy, because Shady just got a 3-for-1 trade by himself. He just got a triple without anyone even touching him. Well, we're approaching 69. You know, I think there's a great point to be made about Cartel here, because I mean they could have won 69-0. Instead, they won 70-0. They just go above and beyond every single game. And well, there is the formality. Stu has gone for the old 117 in the stats. And unfortunately, we have two geese on the lease. Squashy and Looney, both without kills.
And that's a couple of geese, and away they fly now. And we will be heading towards the finals now. But the formality is over, and unfortunately, it ended the way it did. Maybe if you're Batchford and Co, you should have just taken that DC Wonderboy and maybe said, oh, we could have came back in it, but now there's absolutely no chance.
There would always have been that what if. And also, if you did that, you would have had my poetic, sign off for you. We always would be wondering what if. But now that's your legacy. That's what you leave in the Halo 5 Pro Series. Is that 70-0. Unfortunate one. But again, it was always a formality, really, wasn't it? We always knew Mockit would come into this Halo 5 Pro Series finals, I suppose, with a weakened roster. And I think that was on display for everyone to see right there.
It certainly was. And what we're going to do is take a short break now as we get the finals up and running. People are starting to join the lobby already, so it shouldn't be long before we're jumping straight back into the finals. So we'll see you now very, very shortly.